You didn't choose to be this way. Nobody warned you. Nobody sat you down and said, "Hey, one day you're going to wake up, grab your phone before you even open your eyes, and spend the first 15 minutes of your morning absorbing disasters that happen to strangers on the other side of the world." And you won't be able to stop, not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because something ancient inside your brain is pulling you toward the worst news it can find and calling it survival. That is not a metaphor. That is your neurology, and it is quietly destroying you. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud. The problem is not your willpower, not your screen time settings, not the fact that you haven't tried a digital detox yet. The problem is that your brain was engineered millions of years before smartphones existed to treat bad news as a matter of life and death. Psychologists call it negativity bias. When your ancestors lived on the open savanna, the people who paid close attention to threats survived. The ones who ignored danger got eaten. So your brain learned, at a cellular level, that bad news is more important than good news, more urgent, more real, more worthy of your full attention. That was useful then, in 2026, with a device in your hand delivering infinite, curated catastrophe around the clock. It is killing you softly, one headline at a time. Here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. The news industry knows this. Social media platforms know this. Every algorithm on every app you opened this morning knows exactly what your brain is wired to stop scrolling for. A 2019 MIT study found that negative information spreads 6 times faster on social media than positive news. 6 times. Not because people are stupid, because the human brain is hardwired to prioritize threat, and the engineers who built these platforms didn't fight that bias. They fed it. They optimized for it. They built billion-dollar business models on top of your brain's oldest, most primitive instinct. Every time you refresh to see if the situation got worse, every time you feel that sick pull to read one more awful thing even though you know it will ruin your morning, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, not because the news feels good, because your brain is rewarding itself for staying alert to danger. It thinks it is protecting you. It is not protecting you. It is trapping you in a loop that generates advertising revenue for people who will never know your name. And here is what this is physically doing to your body. Every time you consume threatening news, a shooting, an economic collapse, a political disaster, your body fires a real stress response. Cortisol floods your system. Heart rate climbs, muscles tighten. Your nervous system literally cannot tell the difference between reading about a threat and standing in front of one. The American Psychological Association found that regular news consumption is directly linked to elevated anxiety, disrupted sleep, increased depression, and something called vicarious traumatization, where you absorb the trauma of events you never personally experienced, but your body processes as if you did. You are not just reading about the world falling apart. Your nervous system believes it is falling apart with it every single day before anything has even happened to you. Now, here is what actually changes this. Not discipline, not a detox challenge. Awareness. You have been blaming yourself for being too anxious, too negative, too glued to bad news. But what has actually been happening is this. A machine smarter than any individual human, backed by more money than most governments, has been running an optimized psychological campaign against the most ancient vulnerability in your brain, and you have been fighting it with nothing but willpower. That is not a fair fight. The moment you catch yourself reaching for your phone, first thing in the morning, before you've had a single thought of your own. You now know what that impulse actually is. It is not curiosity. It is not caring about the world. It is a 3 million-year-old threat detection system being hijacked by an algorithm that has never once cared whether you live a good life. Name it. That single moment of recognition is the only gap you need. My brain is scanning for danger that isn't here. That pause is where your power lives. Not perfect discipline, not cold turkey, just awareness, enough to take back the first 10 minutes of your morning from a machine that has been stealing them from you every single day. Your brain is not broken. It is ancient. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. The question is whether you are going to keep letting a billion-dollar industry exploit that, or whether today is the day you finally stop giving them the click. Drop a comment if you checked your phone before you got out of bed this morning. I already know the answer. And if this hits something real, share it with someone who needs to hear it.